There's 2000 Corolla in the garage. Finally got it in the garage. It took me like a good 40 minutes just to get it in here because there's like 4 cars in the driveway, and when they're all full of snow and there's nowhere to park on the street, it's a battle to move cars. So after like 40 minutes I finally got it into the garage. But yeah, it's got a decent amount of work that has to get done on it, so we're just gonna go through it one by one. And I did get my tool back from Milwaukee because it was under warranty. And it looks like, because I guess some of the warranty parts or the parts that needs to be replaced were on back order, they just gave me a brand new 2861 mid-torque gun. So I'm not complaining about this. It sounds a lot quieter than my old one. As you can see, I started with tearing the brakes off because the brakes have to get replaced, pads and rotors. But at the same time, we have to do one of the front wheel bearings. I'm not sure which one is it. To me, it sounded like the front left side, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to have to go ahead and pull this apart, get the CV axle out so we could spin it by hand and see if there is an issue with this wheel bearing. The nano is already coming in hand. The bolt for the rear, or for the caliper bracket, you know, the mid torque doesn't really fit in there. I would have to get like a swivel like I have here and then get an extension, and with the nano just put the swivel on it, and I was able to zip them out without any issues at all. So yeah, it's pretty cool. See, I got the CV shaft out of the wheel bearing, and when we spin this, it doesn't sound very good. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and replace this one. If there's still a wheel bearing noise, the fact of the matter is both front wheel bearings have to be replaced. Okay, so we're gonna get one of them knocked out today. Hopefully there's nothing wrong with the other side, but keep in mind this is a car with, I think it has about 280,000 miles on it. So this bad boy's got a lot of miles on it. I got the hub off of the wheel bearing. It's right here, and nothing crazy. Just use my slide hammer and it came right out. Tell you one thing, it's weird using a tool that is this clean. Now I could be a real YouTuber and give you guys reviews on tools that are just absolutely brand new and tell you how great and wonderful they are, even though I've never really had a chance to actually use it. Yes, that's what a YouTuber does. Yeah, I'm just talking shit. I'm allowed to. I can. But it's true. Am I wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. Please tell me I'm wrong. Leave a comment below. These people get brand new tools. Milwaukee just douses them. And here, take all these tools. They got more impact guns than they can even use. They got so many that they just sit in their toolbox looking brand new. Why? Because no person could possibly use 10 different impact guns in a day. There's absolutely no reason for it. Yet Milwaukee keeps sending them tools, and this is how they look in their toolbox forever, and then they, you know, glorify them. Oh, they're perfect, they're great. I mean, they are great tools, okay, but use them. You cannot give a review just because, oh, Milwaukee just sent this to me last week and here it goes, brand new out the box, perfect. Look, it takes a lug nut off. Oh wow, I'm so impressed. All right, rant over. I'm done talking shit. All right, so I'm just about ready to start pressing the wheel bearing out. And I want to see if I could use the nano to do this, and it doesn't seem like it's gonna cut it. I'll show you guys right now. But unfortunately, it looks like I'm gonna have to make a run to a auto parts store because I did not know that this car used oil or grease seals behind the wheel bearing and in front of the wheel bearing, and I didn't buy any of those. So I'm gonna have to make a run out for that, which really sucks. It's freaking, you know, with the snow outside and the weather, it's just a whole new level of inconvenience. But it has to be done right. You can't miss out on those seals. And I am running this thing at the highest pressure I can. I think I have like 120 psi coming out of my tank, and it is full. Alright, so I guess I lied about that because even though it's struggling, it does seem like the Nano was removing the wheel bearing. Even though it was moving pretty slow, it will get the job done. The Milwaukee was moving just a little bit faster. I do have a bigger impact gun if you just want to zip it right out, but it doesn't really matter. I don't mind using the mid torque. But let's go ahead and finish off this job with the Nano. As you can see, I had to change my design here to accommodate the wheel bearing as it gets pressed out. Alright, so I got everything set up to press in the new wheel bearing. Just gonna go ahead, give it a little spray of penetrating fluid just to help it slide in. And let's use the Nano one more time. Not because it's gonna do a better job, because I honestly think the Milwaukee well, obviously it does have more power, so it'll make it easier. But it's a new tool, and let's just keep using it. It's completely in, and I got the new snap ring inside of there already. There isn't much else we could do now. We can't put the new hub on until we get those two seals. So let's go knock that out. So I have a change of plans here. Turns out the AutoZone that's like really nearby me doesn't have it in stock. I would have to drive out to their hub, which is like a back and forth. It's probably a 30-minute drive with the snow, maybe a little bit longer. But the point is, on AutoZone's website, I could just order the two parts and next day shipping shipped to my house. Shipping is like $5. So for less than $20, I could get these two parts shipped to my house. They'll be here tomorrow. And it's not really that big of an issue because the car is going to be here for about 3 or 4 days while I work on it. And I've got plenty of other things to do in this car. I think I should just do that. You know, me going out and wasting all that time driving out there to save a measly $5 in shipping, it's not worth it. And then also consider, you know, weather like this. What if I get into a car accident? What if someone hits me? You know what I'm saying? Me being on the road to save those $5 isn't worth me wrecking my car if someone crashes into me. So you just got to think about those type of things. I'm gonna go ahead and order these parts online, and they'll be shipped to my house next day, tomorrow. So tomorrow they should be here. Until then, I think I'm just gonna go knock out the brakes on the front right side. So on the front right side, you can see the hub on this side looks identical to the one on the other side, meaning both of these front wheel bearings have been replaced at some point. How long ago that was, I have no idea. But at 280,000 miles, I would have expected both of these front wheel bearings to be replaced at some point. Alright, so while we're in here, we can get a good look at the belt. That's exactly why we're changing out that belt today. So here we have the old belt off of the car. You can clearly see all the cracks in it. Yeah, this thing's done for. We got the new belt on the car. Don't gotta worry about that anymore. I think I'm just gonna get things ready on that side for the brakes, like clean up the brake caliper bracket and make sure there's no rust on it to accept the new brake pads and all that stuff, so that thing's like completely solid. So I'm gonna work on this to try to free up that pin. We'll clean it up, re-grease it, and put it all together. I got the pin out of it and I cleaned all the corrosion off of it, gave it a fresh coat of grease, and it's all set now. You can see it moves freely. It goes in and out without any issues. So this side did come out. It's still attached to the caliper, I believe. And yeah, let's just get this ready. Get all the rust off of here and here. Put the new hardware kit on it and just get it ready for tomorrow when we get the new seals for the wheel bearing. I just got an email from AutoZone saying that my order is on the road and it's gonna get delivered. I'm amazed. I was not expecting that. I may have to start using this feature a little bit more often. I'll show you the email that they just sent me right now. Here, while I'm waiting for the parts to come in, I might as well just go in the house and warm up because I'm freezing out here. But I step outside, look how much snow there. This is a lot of snow. I got no time to rest. I gotta pull out the snowblower and just start doing something, because if I don't do anything, it's just gonna get out of control. Past 2 winters, this thing hasn't been running great. It just kind of like it's got a very lopey idle. So I know the carburetor needs to be taken apart, cleaned, and rebuilt. So after this winter, that's gonna be this project. I want to pull the carburetor off of it and do what I have to do. I mean, it still works, it just doesn't run great. So it's good enough. I'm done out here. My hands are absolutely frozen. I have to go in the house, take a break. But I ended up clearing out this passageway right here, because it actually belongs to my neighbor. But he passed away, unfortunately, like towards the beginning of COVID. It wasn't due to COVID. He had a surgery and it just didn't go well, so he passed away. The house has been pretty much abandoned ever since. And everyone on the block had their like their sidewalk shoveled except for his house. So I would always have to like walk around, and I see other people walking around going in the street whenever they have to get by. So I figured, you know what, I might as well go ahead and clean up this passageway so people could walk, since I got the snowblower out already. But I'm done. I'm freezing. Alright, so it's about 10 p.m. AutoZone did not show up today. So tomorrow they should be here. So I checked the tracking number, and it turns out they created a shipping label through FedEx, and that's when they sent out the email saying your package is on its way, even though technically that's not correct, because all they did was create a shipping label. So I decided to start on the rear drum brakes, and it's been about 15 minutes. Can't get the wheel off. At the moment, I got it's just completely doused in penetrating fluid. I'm just gonna keep trying different things, but so far the wheel does not want to come off. This is the type of crap I have to deal with. And then people complain about prices, which honestly my prices are nowhere near what a shop charges. Like, for example, I'll give you a perfect example of how people complain about things. So I didn't know this car needed the 2 seals for the wheel bearing, right? So we had to go to AutoZone and get them, and they're like $20 or something like that, right? So I texted the owner, let them know that obviously it's not any additional labor charge, because it's just part of the job, but we need these seals. It's going to be an additional $20 on top of whatever, right? And the person's like, oh, okay, but I can't really go over that much more. I can't go over the $20. That's all I have to put into this car. And it's like, you're working with people that if you tell them the bill is going up $5, they say they can't. Okay, that's fine, but I can't go anything past. That's my absolute max. It's like, come on now. If it were my car, and if someone told me, oh, it's going to be an additional 25, I'd be like, thank God, that, count your blessings, because it could easily be like, you could get that call where it's, oh, this is what's wrong, or something else is wrong, and it's going to be an additional 300, But no, you could tell people it's going to be an additional 15 or 20, and they're already, oh my God, it is what it is. And yet I have to fight with crap like this, wheels that won't even come off. It just really eats into your time, you know what I mean? And when you're doing this, time is money, so it sucks. Finally got into it. As you can see, I've already started taking everything apart here. Got all my new parts laid out right here. So just a matter of cleaning and reassembling the drums. And I think that's all I'm gonna do for tonight. I'm not gonna be out here all night doing this. Alright, so I have the new shoes installed. I've gone ahead and cleaned up the hub real fast. Sprayed it down with some brake parts cleaner. Just gonna spray the hub with some CRC. It's good enough. And there goes our new shoes, new hardware. So I'm just gonna go ahead, clean off the inside of the drum here, get everything installed and adjust everything, and that'll be it for tonight. Alright, so this side is all done. The shoes are adjusted. Everything's nice and good. Before I get started on this car tomorrow, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up my tools, because you can see I got a whole mess. Don't worry about the actual mess in the garage. I know it looks like just a bunch of crap piled on top of each other, but it's really not. And it kind of is, but it's not. But what I'm talking about is I've got tools thrown all over the floor here, there and on the other side of the car. And we all know you can spend a ton of time looking for tools right when you need them. So before I actually get started on this tomorrow, I'm just gonna clean up all my tools to get a fresh start on everything. So it's about 3 p.m. the next day and I still don't have my parts from AutoZone. So tomorrow they should be here. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Alright, so it's now 6 p.m. and still no parts from AutoZone. The little bit of faith I had in AutoZone, it's kind of, you know what, I know the weather is playing a major role in all of this, but still, just shitty. You know, it's like a bad first impression, you know what I mean? Anyway, I went ahead and got the rear drums knocked out on this side, so the rear drums are completely done on the car. And yesterday, I know I said I was going to pick up my tools, but never got around to it. Don't judge me. So besides this mess right here waiting on these parts, I have to put a downstream oxygen sensor on the car. And I don't want to do that simply because I just don't trust this car, especially cars that are full of snow and the bottom side of the car is all slick. I don't trust any car on jack stands when the car is just covered in snow. You never know when something's gonna slip, right? So what I want to do is get all of this done, and then I could drive the car up on my ramps, and then I'll slide underneath the car and deal with that oxygen sensor. Waiting on this piece. Keep you guys updated. So it is now day 3 of having that Toyota in the garage. So tomorrow they should be here, and as you can see, I'm here cleaning out the bed on our F-150 and getting it out because it was complete. It had a whole like fort around it of snow. Because this truck doesn't move much, so everyone just pushes their snow around it. So I already got it out. I cleaned up all the snow around it. Last thing is to clean out the bed here. But FedEx just dropped off those 2 wheel bearing seals. So after I'm done with this, I could go in the garage and start putting that Toyota back together. Alright, so I got the 2 seals right here. That's the larger one. It's going to go on the inside. And this one right here is the smaller one. It's going to go on the outside. And I grabbed my kit right there. So you can see it has different size cups. And I found one that fits the seal nicely. So I could go ahead and drive in the seal without actually hitting on it. One more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pack inside of here with a little bit of grease. Just because there is a spring. You see the spring inside of there? So there is a spring, and because of all the vibrations that are going to be caused right here from driving in the hub, you know, using a tool and the impact gun, I don't want that spring to pop out because that's not going to be a fun day. Okay, so a little bit of grease right now is going to help retain that spring. And there we go, just giving it a few love taps with a small hammer. And just worked my way all the way around it, and that thing pressed in nicely. It's nice and flush where it should be. So now we could go ahead and press on the new hub. Okay, so we are just about ready to go. The rear seal, I'm not going to install it until I'm done installing the hub. So we'll get this knocked out first, and the last thing we do is put the rear seal on. Alright, so that's it. This out of here. I can see from this side the seal is the new seal is fitting up very well against the new hub. There we go, nice and smooth. Feels good. Don't hear any issues. So now let's go ahead and press in the rear seal. I found a different size cup that fits this seal. As you can see, I put some grease in there as well to retain that spring. And let's see, you don't got much space to work here. Just try to line it up as best as you can. Sorry. Tapping all the way around it until it goes in. So that thing is installed. It went in pretty smooth. The nice thing about using a cup like this is that it fits right on the edge of that seal, but it's also slightly larger. So what happens is once it gets to where it's supposed to be, sorry, I'm out of breath. Is you're gonna hear the sound change. It's gonna sound like you're just hitting metal on metal at that point, because now what's happening is you're hitting your metal cup against the knuckle because the seal is as far in as it could go. If you just had the seal right there and you keep tapping on the seal without using something like this, it's gonna allow you to push that seal in further than it needs to go. So I hope that makes sense. So at this point, we're gonna go ahead, clean all of this up right here, and we could put the CV shaft back in the wheel bearing. Okay, so I cleaned up the surface, but I almost forgot. Before the CV shaft goes in, you have to put this ring on, okay? Now, ideally, you replace this. Normally, I would, but like I said, I don't normally work on these, so I didn't even know that this wheel bearing had a inner and outer seal. It's why I had to go to AutoZone, but I couldn't find this in AutoZone, at least not without having to wait a few extra days, which just isn't gonna happen. Okay, so we're gonna have to reuse this one. Maybe I'll try to clean it up a little bit with the wire wheel. All right, so everything is put together. Got the axle nut on it. So I also have a brand new cotter pin on it, and my CRC bottles, the corrosion inhibitor, they don't work so well in winter. The stuff gets so thick when it's frozen that it doesn't want to spray it out of the bottle, which makes sense. So I just went ahead and put the 2 bottles in the house so they could kind of defrost. Until then, I decided to put some just regular anti-seize on this hub. Since I just got this tool, you know, I'm still trying to figure out its power and basically how much power it has and what you could get away using it for. So for example, as you can see, I got a swivel on it, which takes away power from the gun. But I was using it to tie in the 2 caliper bolts, right? And then I grabbed just a regular, my 1/2-inch ratchet, and just come down and make sure that they're nice and tight, and I could not get them to move. Basically, I couldn't get them any tighter than they already are. So that tells me this gun, even with a swivel attachment on it, is more than capable of tightening those things down. Basically, you just, when you get a new tool, you want to experiment with it and just see what you need to babysit it with. You know, if it's not strong enough, you definitely don't want to be running things down and thinking, oh, it's set, it's good, I could just send it down the road, and it turns out that your new tool isn't as strong as you thought it is. But this one seems to be very capable. It's nice and strong. Now, if I came in here with this thing and that bolt still turns, like it didn't get it completely tight, then I know better to not rely on this as a means of tightening things down, if that makes any sense. And anyone who's a mechanic or just works on cars a lot knows exactly what I'm talking about, that you have to know your tools. This side is pretty much all set. I just have to reconnect that outer tie rod. But yeah, we got new pads, new rotor, new wheel bearing, and even new lug nuts, because when it came in it was missing one. So I figured if I'm gonna order, just order a 4-piece set. One thing I want to point out is when I took this apart, there was no cotter pin on here, and the nut actually came off pretty easy, way easier than it should. So of course it's torqued down, and make sure to put a new cotter pin on here. Definitely a safety issue that should have been there from the beginning. Alright, so what I'm going to do is cut the harness on the old O2 sensor so I could get a regular socket on it and just run it out with the impact gun. You're supposed to come inside the car, and I saw a video of someone like taking out the center console, removing the passenger seat, and like all that stuff isn't necessary. I found that if you just reach your hand back here, you could just work the carpet out, and then the connector is actually just sitting right here. So you unplug it, and that's it. Now I'm gonna go underneath the car and snip the wires, and I could pull this end up through here and get that old O2 sensor off the car. Gonna go ahead and cut the wires. I already got it unplugged. Alright, so just gonna go ahead and pull that through once we go back up there. But let's see if the Nano can remove this. I don't know if we got enough space here. So I had to cut a little bit more wire off, and also I had the wrong size socket. Alright, so it's on there. Let's see if it'll take it off. Without any issues. You can see I was feathering it just to make sure it's coming out, and it was. No problems at all. From right here, the threads look good. So let's go ahead and pop in a new sensor. There you go. Got the new sensor plugged in, and the carpet is right back. You can't even tell I was in here. You avoid taking all this crap apart. It looks like the tires are pretty low, so I'm gonna put air in the tires, and that's it. Take it out for a test drive. So I just took this Toyota out for a test drive. The brakes feel absolutely fine. What else did we do? The serpentine belt, no noise from that, so it's just a belt. As far as the wheel bearing noise, the car sounds better, but now that you fix one of them, it lets you hear other noises, so it still sounds like we have a wheel bearing noise, but I can't pinpoint where this one is coming from. So it sounds better, but it's not 100% done, because there is more wheel bearing noise. The downstream oxygen sensor, I've been keeping an eye on it right here. It is working. Get this to focus. So it is working, but unfortunately, if you know anything about looking at this type of data, you could tell that that catalytic converter is on its way out if it isn't already. Okay, so she may get a check engine light for that alone, the catalyst efficiency, but who knows. It has a very high idle, but again, had to stay within the budget, and it wasn't here for that, so it's gonna have to stay with that high idle for now. It rides like crap because all of the shocks are blown out on it, and I mean all of them. Okay, so it takes bumps very rough, and the car has no ABS, at least I don't think so. So like I said, the brakes work really well now, but once you start sliding, you can't really tell if you're sliding because there's no ABS activation because it doesn't have any. So the only thing you feel is you're pushing a brake pedal, but the car keeps going. But what's happening is the wheels are locking up, okay, and the tires are absolutely bald on this car. So it, like, even if you try making a turn with, you know, some of the snow, the car just keeps going straight. But I did all I could do, and I did all that I was paid to do, so I'm pretty much done. I'm happy with all of the work I've done so far, and everything seems to be good. The owner can come pick it up now.